Hello everyone, Neph here. It has been quite a while. You may wonder why I'm up on top of a giant tree, but that's not really important right now. What's important is, I don't know, I think I've decided just to end it all. See, I'm up on this really high tree and I figure that if I jump off here I won't make it. So, goodbye cruel world! What? But I'm alive. What happened? Was it the vines? No, I actually have these cool boosts to make it so I don't take any fall damage. But yeah. I also have the swanky jetpack. It's really cool. So if you hadn't guessed already, I'm currently playing Feed the Beast, which, if you're not aware, is a Minecraft mod pack. It's basically all of the mods that are in Ticket in this mod pack. And some extra stuff. It's pretty cool. We have electricity. Here's my wind farm where I charge my jetpack all the time. And if I come down here, I can see the nice farm we have. And you may wonder why I say we, because this is not actually a single player game. This is online. 'Tis multiplayer, indeed. And yes, there are some people online right now. They're all silly though. So yeah, this is basically a multiplayer version of Feed the Beast. It's pretty cool. Me and a few guys from the TTT server we have set this up on our own. We kind of have it going for about a week or two now. And it's pretty good. If I just go in my house here. If I can manage to get in the damn door. That happens an awful lot. And you'll see I have all sorts of crazy machinery. Yes, indeed. Because Feed the Beast is a whole lot of mods put together. It's like everything. I mean, you might notice that you've never seen half of this stuff before if you haven't played it. Or if you haven't played mod packs. But it's like it's industrial craft, it's red power, it's Thaumcraft, it's like all the magic and tech mods that are popular put together into one mod pack. And so it's really easy to install. You just throw on one, basically just install this one program and it does everything for you. And you have all this. And you can join servers and do all sorts of stuff. It's really pretty cool. And yeah, I've been getting the hang of it recently and I'm really starting to like it. To the point where I'm actually thinking maybe I should be doing a let's play with it. Could be single player, could be multiplayer, could be both. You know, you never really know. Anyway, in the meantime, I feel I should show you my crib. One of the interesting things about this server is that everybody is not together in one place. There are kind of three main factions. We have our faction, which is this place here, the jungle mountain place. Me and a few friends are here. Then there are the desert people who live obviously in a desert. We don't actually know where they are. They won't tell us. But we know they live in a desert. That's about it. Aside from that, there's a third faction as well, who we're sort of friendly with, and we may have found their base. But, yeah. So it's really cool. And the thing about this one is, usually these mods, it wouldn't be very hard to make all this stuff. However, there's a new mod in this mod pack called GregTech. And basically what it does is it kind of makes a lot of things harder. Which sounds strange, you wonder why would you do that, but actually what it means is that the whole tech tree lasts a hell of a lot longer. I mean, to make a simple buildcraft quarry, which you know normally is very overpowered, it takes so long to make that by the time you make it, you have all that stuff anyway, so it's not really overpowered. So it's kind of nice, and I mean it kind of means that the game goes on so much longer. And you kind of actually need a load of people together to make stuff, it's cool. And so yeah. So I'm going to just show you around my place. First off, we obviously need power for all these fancy machines. And so the power we get for this comes from the generator room, which is down here. I can just jump down because I have my boots. So yeah, here's an enormous machine. This thing is an industrial blast furnace. It takes forever to make, and it's actually made of a whole bunch of different blocks. But it lets you cook fancy things and stuff. Yes, indeed. I also have my geothermal generators. Basically these take lava in and turn it into power. And I have quite a lot of power. That's 10 million units of power, so yeah, that's quite a lot. Quite a lot of power. And so that all goes upstairs. And if we go upstairs, we have all these fancy machines. So we have furnaces, we have extractors, which are getting rubber. We have all sorts of stuff. And these are all industrial craft machines, but we also have these machines, which are from a mod called Thermal Expansion. You don't have to remember that. But yeah, this kind of adds a lot of cool machines and it's really nice. So we have more over here. I'm not going to go through every one, but like you can do all sorts of stuff. Like fill buckets and cans, make lava, all sorts of things. And we also have our message wall here. You can see I actually left this because I changed the whole energy system recently and I was really excited. So yeah. And we're currently working towards building a quarry, for which we still need some gold gears and some diamond gears. Because we still, you know, even in this game it's still hard to make diamonds. Or get diamonds even. This is our energy storage, which as you can see is a big tank of lava. Basically, because we use lava for power, I send it all up here and so we can see how much we have. Spare like. And the way this actually works is it's using a special thing. I'll explain this later because I'll show you where the power is actually coming from. And apart from that we have a storage room which has chests full of stuff. These are iron chests and they can actually hold a whole bunch more than normal chests, which is really handy. You can actually upgrade them as well to like gold and diamond chests. And we also have barrels. These are really useful. You know when you have one thing you just want to get very often, like say I want a stack of cobble, I just click it and I get a stack of cobble. It's very handy. Oh, actually, if you thought I got 3, I actually did get 64 there. It's just 'cause I had some in my inventory. And so, yeah. I can also get 1 at a time if I want to, which is very handy. But I had this stack, so yeah. Very nice. And I have more stuff over here. Tons of crap. This is the one bed we have that we use to set our spawn. And we have some creatures here from the Twilight Forest. That's a mod we haven't even touched on yet, but the guys in... Well, I'm just going to call them Spies Team for now. They went to the Twilight Forest and we got one of their trees, so now there's bugs everywhere. Yeah, and they sing. This thing is from Red Power, obviously that's an alloy furnace. We haven't really done much of Red Power, I don't really... It's weird, we normally would, but we just haven't. I mean, we've spent so much time just on Buildcraft, it's amazing. Or sorry, not Buildcraft, Industrial Craft. Derp. Yeah, oh and actually these are Buildcraft engines. What's funny about these is these aren't part of this mod, but they're taking power from this mod and putting it into the machines from this mod. So yeah, it's cool. You can use one for the other. So everything we have is powered by electricity. And if I go down here, I've showed you all of this. That's where the lava comes into these generators. The reason they're pulsing right now is because the actual power thing is full. So like there's nowhere for the energy to go. I have too much power, which is always a good thing. If I go down again, here's our Nether Portal. Which, you know, is standard fare, I don't need to go through that. And if I go down again, you'll notice this is a very, very, very long ladder. That's because we live at the top of a mountain, and it goes all the way from there down to bedrock. So yeah, it's quite long. And we use this for mining. However, another handy thing about this is, as I said, we use lava for power, but of course we need to find lava for that. So what do? I'm gonna go down here fast. You don't want to do that without the boots or you will die. If I go down here and get away from this damn void fog, you shall see that I have my lava machine. Now actually this has changed a lot recently. Basically what this is, it's a Buildcraft pump that is pumping up the lake of lava underneath this bridge, which is almost gone now. And it's sending it into this funky thing. Before I used to have a big tank here and actually just come down, fill up one of these portable tanks, which are handy because they can hold liquid and you can take them with you. If I got my wrench out. And you can take them, which is handy. So I used to fill them manually and bring them upstairs and put them into the system. That worked, but obviously this is nicer. Basically this thing, it's called a Tesseract. And it is very fancy. This one is a liquid Tesseract. Basically what this thing does is it's made out of ender liquid, if you like, or ender pearls. And you know the way ender pearls transport stuff? Basically this teleports stuff, in this case liquid, from here up until the other Tesseract, which is upstairs. So you might have seen one of these under the tank upstairs. And so basically the pump goes directly into that and it goes straight upstairs. And it's all very fancy. The pump is turned off right now, but I have this funky thing here, which does look sort of questionable, I will admit. But what this actually does is this is wireless redstone. So I have a switch upstairs which toggles this on and off, and that turns on the pump. So when the tank upstairs is empty, I can hit this, or I can hit the switch upstairs, and the pump turns on. So yeah, it's all fancy, indeed. If I were to turn that on there, you'll see these are all Buildcraft engines, and they're just making the pump work. You won't see anything because the lava's going straight into that. But if it went upstairs, you would. So I'm just going to break that. And so yeah, and it was faster than bringing, you know, tons of tanks upstairs. Although even one of these tanks holds enough lava for, you know, a lot of power. So you could do that like once a day and it'd be fine. And yeah, so that's our kind of energy system. I only finished the whole Tesseract thing recently, and it makes it a lot easier. So we have kind of stable power now. Oh, and actually, notice how fast this is with the jetpack. Whoa. If I was to climb this ladder, it would take ages, but doing it this way, it's much faster. So yeah. And what else? Oh yes, the lava system. So if I look down here, you see there's the next Tesseract. So the lava comes straight out of here and fills this tank. I can't actually really drain that tank to show you how it works, but basically when this is kind of empty, I actually have instructions here for the guys, because yeah, I set this up and they don't know how to use it. So when this is kind of empty, you turn this on, that turns on the pumps downstairs, and it teleports the lava up here. So yeah, it's very handy. As for where that goes downstairs into the pipe system. And the pipes are down here. Ignore this stuff, this is not mine, and it's currently not functioning anyway. In fact, yeah, this was for Frisky, he was trying to get Tesseracts to work. The reason they actually don't work, Frisky, if you're watching this, is you have to reconnect the pipe sometimes to get it to work. It's a bit weird. Oh, but Frisky did build all of this funky stuff. I don't even know what he's doing in here. He has a massive iron tank, which I need to build, actually, for my lava. And he has biogas engines and all sorts of things. It's all very fancy. And so yeah, but basically, the lava comes in up here. There's a Tesseract. Goes down here, down through that pipe, into this tank, just as a buffer, and goes through that pipe into the generators. And that's how we get power. And yeah, the thing is, the system is so effective that we have way too much power. I mean, one of the biggest, I think the second biggest energy storage you can build is the thing I have downstairs, and it's full. It's constantly full. Even if I run the huge machines, it's still full. It's ridiculous. I have too much power. And so yeah. And of course you can charge your jetpack off of those things as well. But yeah, so that's a quick tour of my crib. I just want to show it to you guys. And as I said, I want to know your guys' opinion because it's been a while since I did any kind of Minecraft Let's Play. And I've been thinking about it for a while. I realized a lot of you guys subscribe for Minecraft. And I figured maybe I should do more of it. And as I said, it's up to you. What do you think I should do? A server one or a single player one or both maybe? What I could do is do this, you know, single player as kind of a tutorial. And do the, you know, multiplayer as just, you know, silliness and madness. I mean, as I said, on the server we currently have 3 factions. And there's a very uneven piece. We have a strange way of doing admin stuff. We don't really have admins. It's more a case of nobody gets thrown off the server unless they're really just causing trouble. What that means is that you do occasionally have issues, let's just say. But also it's kind of interesting because the factions currently aren't at war, but we always worry what'll happen if one day one faction really hates a different faction and they both know where each other are. There is all kinds of opportunities for shenanigans. In fact, this brings me to the Truce Act of 2013. Because originally, a lot of you guys know Sulfate, right? From the TTT videos, or from the Saints Row videos. He's not the most trustworthy person. And he may have stolen from the other faction. What that resulted in is this. The 2 factions were kind of at war, and then they decided, okay, this is ridiculous, let's stop this, and they made the Truce Act of 2013. We leave them alone and they leave us alone. And in the small text you see, if they come, we warn them and keep them from the server. So yeah. So it's interesting. It's actually quite a lot of fun. I was kind of surprised. I mean, with these mods, the Greg Tech thing, it makes it really hard to do anything, which is kind of annoying. But once you get used to it, it's actually really interesting. It kind of turns Minecraft into a sort of MMO, which is weird. But yeah. So yeah guys, I want yours as opinions. As I said, leave a comment, let me know what the story is, what's going on. If you like this, like the video. And yeah. Whee! Bye-bye.